A Muslim sent me this 1-minute video thinking it's some kind of slam dunk against the deity of Christ. It shows this Muslim scholar trying to impress us by rapidly quoting 7 Bible verses in a row to prove that Jesus is not God.
Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, said in the Gospel of John, chapter number 14, verse number 28, "My Father is greater than I."
If he had read the entire verse, you'd see that Jesus said, "I go unto the Father." Only Jesus' human nature could go unto the Father in heaven because his divine nature was already in heaven, according to John 3:13. The Father was greater than Jesus while Jesus was in his earthly human form because Jesus temporarily weakened himself so he could suffer and die for us, as explained in Philippians 2:5-8 and Hebrews 2:14-16.
Gospel of John, chapter number 10, verse number 29, "My Father is greater than all."
In the very next verse, Jesus said, "I and my Father are one." So for Jesus to say, "My Father is greater than all," is the same as saying Jesus is greater than all. 3 times in the Bible, Jesus is called King of Kings and Lord of Lords because he is greater than all kings and greater than all lords.
Gospel of John, chapter number 5, verse number 30, "I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, for I seek not my will, but the will of my Father."
Incredible. He quoted the entire verse, totally blinded to the fact that the second half of the verse disproves the point he's trying to make with the first half of the verse. Jesus explained in the same sentence why he could of his own self do nothing, and it wasn't because he didn't have the power to do anything. It was because he chose to do everything according to the will of the Father. As a Muslim, if you say, "I can eat no pork," you obviously don't mean I am physically unable to eat pork. I am physically unable to put pork in my mouth and chew it. No, what you mean is I can't eat pork because I choose not to eat pork because I am following Islam.
It's clearly mentioned in the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verse number 24. Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, says that the words that you hear are not mine, but my Father's who has sent me.
He didn't quote the first half of the verse and the previous verse, where Jesus said it was his words. In one sense, the word was his, and in another sense, it wasn't. It's called a paradox. It's a common rhetorical device that you can see in other verses. Like 1 Corinthians 7, it says, "I command, yet not I." 1 Corinthians 15, "I labored, yet not I." Galatians 2:20, "I live, yet not I."
Gospel of Matthew, chapter number 12, verse number 28, "I cast out devils with the Spirit of God." Gospel of Luke, chapter number 11, verse number 20, "I with the finger of God cast out devils." And it's clearly mentioned in the book of Acts, chapter number 2, verse number 22, "Ye men of Israel, listen to this. Jesus of Nazareth, a man approved of God amongst you by wonders and miracles and signs, which God did by him, and you are witness to it."
I suppose he's quoting those verses because God is spoken of as a separate person from Jesus, but that doesn't prove anything. Sometimes the word God refers specifically to the Father, sometimes it refers specifically to the Spirit, and sometimes it refers specifically to the Son, which you can plainly see in Hebrews chapter 1, where the Father is called God in verse 1, and the Father calls his Son God in verse 8. Which is just one of dozens of verses that prove that Jesus is God. You can read them all in this tract from pocketgospeltracts.com.